Once upon a time, the village of Ashcombe Hollow had existed long before anyone thought to give it a name. It sat tucked between rolling northern hills, stitched together by narrow stone lanes and low hedgerows. Its cottages leaned slightly with age, like old men sharing secrets. Slate roofs carried decades of rain. Chimneys breathed out coal smoke that smelled of warmth and routine. The church bell marked time, not urgency. Life in Ashcombe Hollow moved gently. On late afternoons, children ran freely across the green, their laughter skipping ahead of them like stones on water. Mothers watched from benches wrapped in shawls, hands busy with knitting or bread baskets. Fathers stood near low stone walls, mugs of tea steaming in the cold air, talking about weather, crops, and nothing in particular. War belonged to newspapers. Ashcombe belonged to itself. No one noticed the way the wind lingered longer on the hills that winter. No one questioned why the crows gathered more often on the fence posts. Peace is quiet that way. It never announces when it's about to leave. Elliot Marrow had never wanted to leave Ashcombe Hollow. At 21, he still walked the same paths he'd known as a child. He knew which stones loosened after rain, which hedges hid rabbits, which cottages baked bread on Sundays. His father, Thomas Marrow, had taught him the land with patience, how to listen to it, how to respect its silences. Elliot worked as a carpenter's assistant. His hands were strong, his voice quiet. He noticed things others missed: cracks in beams, sadness in faces, changes in the wind. On that particular afternoon, Elliot stood near the village green watching his younger sister Clara spin until she fell laughing into the grass. Their mother called for her to slow down. Their father smiled without speaking. It felt complete. It felt permanent. Elliot didn't know this was the last afternoon he would see it whole. The letter arrived on a gray morning. It came with the postman's usual nod, folded neatly, stamped with authority and distance. Mrs. Marrow's hands trembled as she passed it to Thomas. No one spoke. Elliot already knew. War had been whispered about for months. Distant battles, southern cities bombed, boys leaving villages like Ashcombe and not returning. But whispers become commands eventually. Thomas read the letter slowly. Then again. Then folded it once more. "They want you by the end of the week," he said. Elliot nodded. His mother sat down heavily, hands pressed to her apron. Clara stared at the floor, suddenly very small. Outside, the church bell rang for noon. Life insisted on continuing. That night, the village gathered as it always did. Someone played a fiddle in the square. Someone brought fresh bread. Laughter arrived, thin but determined. Ashcombe Hollow had always believed in pretending, in acting as though routine itself could hold the world together. Elliot sat beside Margaret Hale, the girl he had loved quietly since childhood. She didn't cry. She didn't speak much either. She simply held his hand, her thumb brushing the scar on his knuckle. "I'll wait," she said. Elliot didn't promise anything. Promises felt dangerous now. As the sun dipped behind the hills, the church bell rang again. No one noticed it sounded different. Elliot left before dawn. Mist clung low to the ground. The village slept, wrapped in innocence. His mother kissed his cheek. His father pressed a hand to his shoulder. "Come back," Thomas said. "Not be safe. Not be brave. Just come back." Clara hugged him fiercely, her face buried in his coat. Elliot walked the lane until the village disappeared behind a bend in the road. He did not look back. Training stripped Elliot of his gentleness. Cold mornings. Muddy boots. Barked orders that treated names like inconveniences. He learned how to fire a rifle, how to march, how to sleep without rest. He met Samuel Briggs, a miner's son with a laugh too loud for war, and Arthur Bell, who wrote letters every night and never sent them. They spoke of home constantly. Each story became a lifeline. Ashcombe Hollow lived in Elliot's chest now, warm and unreachable. The first time Elliot saw a man die, it wasn't dramatic. No final words. No music. Just surprise. The enemy didn't wear faces at first, only shapes, movement, sound. By the time Elliot understood what he'd done, his hands were shaking too badly to reload. That night, he dreamed of the village green covered in snow. Back home, Ashcombe Hollow changed slowly. The laughter on the green softened. The benches emptied earlier. Letters arrived, some hopeful, some brief, some never answered. Margaret read Elliot's letters aloud to Clara, even when the words were few. Mrs. Marrow folded them carefully and kept them near the hearth. The church bell rang more often now. Not for time. For loss. Winter hardened the war. Elliot and his unit were sent north, into hills that reminded him cruelly of home. The land looked familiar but felt hostile. Snow erased tracks. Fog swallowed men whole. It was there that Arthur Bell was lost. Not to a bullet, but to the fog itself. They never found him. Elliot stopped writing as often. Not because he didn't want to, but because he didn't know how to explain what he'd become. The boy who loved quiet paths had learned how to live with screams. Samuel noticed. "Don't forget where you're from," he said. Elliot didn't answer. The shell came without warning. The ground tore open. The sky screamed. Elliot was thrown backward, ears ringing, lungs burning. When the world settled, Samuel Briggs was gone. Only his helmet remained, upside down, filling with snow. Elliot pressed his face into the frozen earth and did not move. Elliot survived because survival was automatic. Shoot, sleep. He carried Samuel's scarf inside his coat. It smelled faintly of coal. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Margaret read it first, then handed it to Mrs. Marrow. Clara cried openly. Thomas stared at the wall for a very long time. The village gathered that evening. No music, just presence. The bell rang once. When the war ended, there were no cheers where Elliot stood, only exhaustion. He walked away from the battlefield thinner, quieter, older. The land did not thank him. Ashcombe Hollow looked smaller, familiar, but altered. New names carved into stone. Empty cottages, softer voices. Margaret waited by the green. She said his name once. That was enough. Elliot never spoke much about the war. He repaired cottages. He walked the hills. He rang the church bell when needed. On winter evenings, smoke still rose from chimneys. Children still laughed, carefully. And sometimes, when the wind passed over the hills just right, Elliot swore the land remembered everything. Years later, when Elliot was old, the bell stopped ringing altogether. No one rushed to fix it. The village already knew how to listen without it. Because war had passed through Ashcombe Hollow. And though peace returned, it never sounded the same again.